What is going on, everybody? It is me again. It is HorrorFan34, and welcome to another video, and welcome to, once again, another convention recap. This is my recap video from New Jersey HorrorCon in Edison, New Jersey, from March. I know I'm really late with making this, but because I'm sometimes too lazy to make a video, sometimes, but better late than never. So, here on to the New Jersey HorrorCon recap video. And then after this, I'll post my Monster Mania recap, Monster Mania 62, I believe. So first off, the New Jersey HorrorCon in Edison, New Jersey. This was a really big show for me. A lot of really great guests there that I wanted to get. Trying to remember exactly what so I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 people total. And all these I got so many because all the prices for these guests were extremely good and very reasonable. So that's why I got so many of them. So, but first, before I get on to the autographs and pictures, I wanted to get on to some of the merchandise. I got 3 Blu-rays from, I think, Diabolic DVD. Got them right here. Really excited that I got the last one on their table from that show. So I picked up the in-print release of the Blair Witch Project collection, which is a really cool looking box set. It comes with the 2 Blair Witch films on Blu-ray, which is really cool. I do have the old Blair Witch Blu-ray, but I'm still going to keep that because I'm a big fan of the film. But really nice to have, you know, another copy in this collection. Also, and of course, having Blair Witch 2 on Blu-ray, which is cool because I don't think that's never been available separately on Blu-ray. So to have them in, you know, to have them both is cool, and it has like new, and Blair Witch 2 I think has a couple new features on it as well. So really happy with this, and I like the packaging on it. Love the look of the Blair Witch logo in red, and you have Heather Donahue from the first film. Also picked up from Kino Lorber release, Summer Rental finally has a Blu-ray. Really happy that this finally got a Blu-ray edition from Kino, one of my favorite John Candy films. And the last one I picked up from the table is The Substance, one of my favorite films from last year. I mean, what more can I say about this one that hasn't been said before? It's a fantastic flick. So that'll do it for the merchandise that I got. Now we're getting on to the main people I met. So the first 3 people that I met all go together because they had a speaking of Blair Witch, that's the reason why I got the Blu-ray set, because they had a Blair Witch reunion at the show of the 3 main cast members, Heather, Mike, and Josh. And I have my 11x17 Blair Witch poster that I've had for well over 10 years, and I was hoping one day they would do a show, and sure enough they did, and came out and had a reunion. So I was really happy. I was really excited to meet all 3 of them because the Blair Witch Project is one of my favorite horror films of all time. So getting on to the first person I met, Michael C. Williams. I mean, Michael C. Williams, fantastic guy. Talked to him for at least 5 or so minutes. I talked with all these Blair Witch people for at least 5 or so minutes. Michael was fantastic. I mean, the first thing he said to me was congratulations on the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, because I was wearing my Super Bowl hat to the show. And we were talking back and forth about, you know, the Super Bowl, and he was talking about like all the play. It was just really cool talking the Super Bowl with Michael C. Williams, and he's from New York, so he's a big Giants fan. And he was telling me, you know, how pissed off he was that the Giants let Saquon Barkley go to the Eagles, and hence, you know, Saquon Barkley. So it was a pretty cool, just a little conversation talking with Michael C. Williams about football and things like that. So, and when it came time to him signing my poster, he really got he smiled when I told him the quote that I wanted him to sign, which was awesome. So overall, Michael C. Williams, fantastic guy overall. So here is my picture with me and Michael C. Williams. And here's a picture of Michael C. Williams signing my Blair Witch poster. and his autograph and quote on the poster. Okay, so moving on to the next person for the Blair Witch Project, and that is Joshua Leonard. Another, just like Michael C. Williams, really cool guy. And the first thing he said to me was, "Dude, I love that shirt." I was wearing my Andrew Dice Clay T-shirt that I wear to the shows and all that stuff. So he was like, "Dude, I love that shirt." And I asked Josh. We were talking back and forth about that, and I was telling Josh, I was asking Josh about the quote that I wanted him to sign, and he asked me like, "Sure, go right ahead." And he ducked his head down and was about ready to sign. And I asked him the quote that I wanted him to sign, and he laughed and he just put his head up and gave me a high five and things like that. I kind of felt bad for Josh Leonard because I know he was sick when he was at the show. He was a little bit under the weather. So I kind of felt bad for him, but he was still really cool. He still came out to the show and was smiling with everybody and loved talking with everybody. So, he was a trooper, Josh Leonard, coming out, not in the greatest condition, but still came out for the fans and all that stuff. So, got to give a lot of props to him. So, overall, great guy, just like Michael. So, and my photo with Josh Leonard is just picturesque perfect. So, you'll see why in a second, but here is my picture with me and Joshua Leonard. And a picture of Joshua Leonard signing my Blair Witch poster. And his autograph and quote on the poster. And you'll see why he got a good laugh out of it. It's kind of hard to read, but I think you can definitely make it out. But here it is. Okay, now moving on to the last person of the Blair Witch Project people, and that, of course, is Heather Donahue. Heather was a definite, fantastic person, sweetheart of a lady. Me and her actually have a bit of a connection. We're both Pennsylvania-born people. She was in the Upper Darby area, and I'm from the Philadelphia area, which is Upper Darby from here is probably at least half hour away, give or take. So we were talking just being natives of Pennsylvania, and she was like asking me like, "Oh, what neighborhood are you from?" And she was asking me questions, and it's just really cool, like when you get to meet someone who's from the same state as you, and then you sort of had like that connection between the two of you. It's just always a really cool conversation to have with celebrities like that. It was kind of like when I get to the Monster Mania convention recap, I'll get to that another story like that, and when I get to that video. So I'd say, and just meeting the entire Blair Witch cast was a dream come true, considering the Blair Witch Project, like I said, is one of my favorite horror films, as my camera is having a fucking seizure and I'm glitching as I am talking, but I'll keep going anyway. So but here is my picture with me and Heather Donahue. And here's a picture of Heather Donahue signing the poster. And her autograph and quote on the film. I actually did not have a quote for Heather Donahue. She made one. She just did one on the fly, and I was really happy with it because it was probably the one I would have picked. So pretty cool. So she signed dead center of where Josh and Mike, and the way like they all three of them signed, it was like a cross on like a banner like form. It's really cool looking. But here is Heather's autograph on the poster and the quote. Okay, guys. Now that is it for the Blair Witch people. Now we're getting on to the other guests that I met. And now the next two that I met actually go together as well because they're a husband and wife. but I'll get to that story right now. But the next two, these are people that I've been wanting to meet for quite a while because I've heard like nothing but the greatest things about these people. I follow them on Instagram and things like that, and just like I see, and she has her own YouTube channel, and just like their goofy reels that they like shorts that they do on YouTube, and they, like I said, like they just like have such a great sense of humor. These two, and they, you know, play off each other very well. You know, they just seem like just fantastic people, and that's what I've been hearing from a lot of fans and all that stuff, and they were all very true. So the next two that I'm going to get to are Kimberly J. Brown and Daniel Kuntz. Now, of course, you know these two from the Halloween Town franchise. Kimberly was Marnie in the first 3 Halloween Town films, and Daniel played the villain in the second film, Calabar's son from the first Halloween Town. He's in the second one as the villain. So they were there for the Halloween Town. There was 4 people for Halloween Town reunion. So I really wanted to meet Kimberly J. Brown and Daniel Kuntz. I got Kimberly J. Brown to sign my DVD for Rose Red, and I had a really special item for Daniel because this is why I was really excited to meet them. Because I was really looking forward to seeing what Daniel's reaction would be. So what I do is I started printing out my own photos. Shout out to my boy Chad for telling me about this that I can do. I have a CVS right up the street from me where you can like print out photos and all that stuff, and I've been starting to do that a lot lately for shows and everything. I did it for Monster Mania as well. So I had a picture. I took a screenshot of Daniel Kuntz's scene from Third Rock from the Sun, because he was on an episode of Third Rock from the Sun, which is one of my favorite sitcoms. He was in a scene where him and a guy are bullying French Stewart, who's pretending to be an Amish guy. And Daniel Kuntz, you know, has a really fun scene in the show. You know, what you got to do about an Amish boy? He's like rubbing an ice cream on his face and things like that. And just you can tell Daniel Kuntz had a really fun time playing the role. So I was really looking forward to seeing what his reaction would be. And he was just completely blown away, and so was Kimberly. They were just like shocked that I brought up something from Third Rock from the Sun, and like they both were just so nice. You know, I was talking with these two for at least a couple minutes each. Kimberly was telling me how great it was working with Julian Sands on Rose Red, and how great Melanie Linsky was, and Nancy Travis, and working with Craig R. Baxley, and telling all kinds of great stories about working on Rose Red, and overall fantastic lady. I asked her if she can sign the quote and a character. She had no problem with any of that. She was more than happy to do so. And when I got to Daniel, he was like saying like, oh my god, like he was just telling me how great an experience he had working on the show, like how he got to see like the actors act live in person. He was saying how great John Lithgow was, how great French Stewart was, and Jane, and was it Jane Curtin? Yeah, I think Jane Curtin. And how great it was working with Joseph Gordon-Levitt and talking about Kristen Johnston and things like that. And he was telling me about like how he was going to audition for, it was the 2 guys in the scene that he was in. It was him and another actor. He was telling me how he auditioned for the other guy's role, and that guy auditioned for his role, and then they eventually switched them, and then he got the role that he was telling me about, and talking about like his audition, how he got the job, and things like that. And when I asked him to sign, like, hey, can you personalize it to me and say like, hey, what you got to do about an Amish boy? And him and Kimberly were laughing their ass off, and so I can definitely tell Daniel had a really great. He was smiling the whole time because he was just, when you always bring up something different for actors, they always really do enjoy that. It's like Kimberly J. Brown, because she's always used with Halloween Town, same with Daniel, but Rose Red and Third Rock from the Sun, I mean, I'm like the obscure guy at the punch. So like both of these people were fantastic, just some of the most nicest people that you can ever meet in your entire life. So these would be a lot of pictures for this one. So first off, I'll get on to Kimberly, and then I'll do Daniel. So here is my picture with me and Kimberly J. Brown. And here's a picture of Kimberly J. Brown signing my Rose Red DVD. And her autograph and quote on the DVD. And now we're getting on to Daniel. So here is my picture with me and Daniel Kuntz. A picture of Daniel signing the 8x10 photo. And his autograph and quote on there. Okay, so moving on to the next guest. Now, all these are separate now. These don't go together or anything like that. So, the next one that I met was Luke Edwards. This guy has been in a couple things over the years. He was in Little Big League, and I'm blanking on a few of them. But he was mostly known for Little Big League, but I really wanted him for Mother's Boys, which is a very criminally underrated Jamie Lee Curtis film where I think the only time Jamie Lee Curtis played a villain in the film, where she plays a mom who abandons her family and then she comes back and then she starts going psycho and starts trying to sabotage the new husband's wife and trying to sabotage the husband, and she's like the scorned ex-wife basically, and trying to get her kids to turn against the family and the new wife, and it was like those 90s thrillers around that time, like all those ones that came out around that time. So really wanted to meet Luke Edwards for Mother's Boys, and Luke was a really cool guy. He had a great laugh. I asked him about the quote that I wanted him to sign, and he got a great laugh out of it. He was actually telling me that throughout the day, he had never signed anything from Mother's Boys. I was the first one to bring up the film to him, which was cool because he was signing a bunch of Little Big League stuff. So the fact that he got to sign something for Mother's Boys was really refreshing, and it was really great. He really cared as well. He really wanted to make sure he was doing it in the color Sharpie. He was asking me oh, what color Sharpie should I do in? And he wanted to be sure it came out okay. I said silver, and it was really cool. He personalized it, wrote his autograph. He put his character, and he wrote the quote that I wanted him to sign. So he was really accommodating, and just really a great guy to talk to. Said a lot of great things working with Jamie Lee Curtis and Peter Gallagher and Joanne Whalley, who were some of the cast members in Mother's Boys. So overall, great guy overall. So here is my picture with me and Luke Edwards. And here's a picture of Luke Edwards signing my Mother's Boys DVD. And his autograph and quote on there. Okay, guys, so moving on here to the next person that I met. The next person I met was Brandy Roderick. All of you know her, from either Playboy, or she was mostly known for Baywatch. And she was in, I think, the Starsky and Hutch 2004 film with Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson. And she's been, I want to check out her horror film that she came out with called, I think it's called Wineville, I believe. I don't know if she was I know she starred in it, but I don't know if she was a producer on it as well, or she wrote it. I know she had some other involvements with the project, so want to check that out as soon as I can. But Brandy was a fantastic lady, one of the nicest people, just like with Daniel and Kimberly, just like one of the nicest people you can ever meet. I picked an 8x10 off her table. And it was the 8x10 I liked the most out of the bunch on there. And like she was just so nice. She was asking me questions about myself and what I do for a living and where I'm from, and we were just just a really nice lady. I was the only person at her table, and we talked for at least 10 or so minutes just about life in general and things like that. She gave me a hug and things like that. It's just an overall lovely lady. So I had a great time meeting her, because I regret not getting her the past couple times at Chiller, and then thankfully New Jersey HorrorCon got her for this show. So I was really thankful that they did. So here is my picture with me and Brandy Roderick. And here's a picture of Brandy Roderick signing the 8x10 photo. And her autograph on it. Okay, guys, moving on to the next person that I met. The next person I met was Robert Kurtzman. I mean, what more can I say about this guy that hasn't been said before? This dude's a legend. Has worked on the effects for so many films over the years. The first 3 Scream films, Tales from the Dark Side of the movie, and Dawn of the Dead, and the original Dawn of the Dead, and just countless amounts of stuff that he did. But I really wanted him because he worked on some of the stuff for an underrated vampire film called Children of the Night from the 90s. And Robert was a really cool guy, and when I brought up Children of the Night to him, he was just like, oh god, like, because he couldn't believe like someone would bring that up to him, because he's like, boy, this is like a rough in the diamond gem right here. And he was like just blown away that someone brought up something that's so obscure. And he was telling me just a lot of great stories working with Amy Dolans and Karen Black on the film, and working with Tony Malum, who directed the film. And he signed the insert in gold, which I thought came out really cool. So I mean, overall, a fantastic guy overall. So here is my picture with me and Robert Kurtzman. And a picture of Robert Kurtzman signing the insert of my DVD. And his autograph on it. Alright, guys, moving on to the very last person of the show. It goes with the Halloween Town people, but this guy was on it separate on its own. But the last person I met was Robin Thomas. If you don't know Robin Thomas, of course, he was Calabar in the first Halloween Town, but I mostly know him from Summer School with Mark Harmon. He plays the vice principal, who's pretty much our villain of the film, the vice principal. So I really wanted to get him on my Summer School Blu-ray. And Robin was a really cool guy, really down-to-earth guy. You can tell he really enjoyed being there and meeting the fans. And apparently, from what I understand, he's a pretty rare name when it comes to conventions. I don't think he does that many conventions. So I figured I couldn't pass up the opportunity to get him, because I'm a big fan of Summer School with Mark Harmon. It's one of my favorite 80s films, period. One of my favorite 80s comedies. One of my favorite comedies of all time. Love Summer School. He said a lot of great things about working with Mark Harmon, saying how great it was working with him. He said he had a great time working with all the kids of the film, whether it be like Shawnee Smith or the guy that played Chainsaw, and said a lot of great things working with Kirstie Alley, who's, well, rest in peace, Kirstie Alley. So like I said, he just had a great time working on the films. Had a lot of cool stories. So Robin was a great guy. So here is my picture with me and Robin Thomas. and a picture of Robin Thomas signing my Summer School Blu-ray. And his autograph on it. And he actually gave me a character name too, which I did not expect him to do, but he was really kind to do so. So here it is. And that is it, guys. That's all I got for you. That is my New Jersey HorrorCon recap. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. You guys take care.